Hit the button.
I did.
I
All
got
right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Texans Unfiltered, a Houston football podcast for your Houston Texans. I am Young Ari Gold, and I'm joined as usual by my friend and co-host John Wade, the Garnet Texan. And John, I think we'll just skip talking about Texans this week. Let's open up a bunch of football cards because I don't really
let's just get
know.
to it. Yeah.
We'll save that for a little bit later. Yeah, well, an interesting game on Sunday where the Houston Texans lost to the Zach Wilson-led New York Jets.
You
Jets.
know, it,
Jets. Jets.
it's this is actually probably the most painful loss for me. Because there's no excuses. Like the Jets were 30th in like rushing defense, 32nd in passing defense. Like they were a horrible, horrible team. Horrible team. And we go out there and for a little bit it looked like we'll be okay. And then the wheels just fell off and we were bad. And this is more and more that we just have probably the most painful offense to ever watch. And we're not alone. We've only got 9 people in the room right now. Like that's like probably an all-time low for when me and you both are here. Everybody's just kind of tired of it. It's like it's just we suck. There's nothing
Yeah.
to look forward to. I
No.
mean, we've got a couple of good pieces. There's a couple of guys that might end up being something in the long run,
Yeah.
like John Grenard and Brevin Jordan, for example. But
Kruger
they
Hill.
don't. Yeah, Gruger Hill, like he's something else. But I mean, they all play positions that aren't really like they're not premier positions. Like you don't see him time in, time out.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nico Collins is going to be solid, but he's not going to be a superstar. Tyrod
Mm.
Taylor has forgotten that Brandon Cooks even exists. So maybe it's just the quarterback. I don't know.
I mean, I have a
Uh,
theory. I have a theory. I honestly believe that they thought they would be able to compete this year. And I think through 6 weeks, which is like the only thing that any Texans fan can really hold on to, was like the first 6 weeks. Like after that, there's like nothing else to hold on to this
right.
season other than Jonathan Grenard, right? But I do think that they actually thought that they were going to be competitive. Then
Mhm.
Tyrod's injury just threw a wrench in everything, and they just decided to tank. Like honestly, there is no way that you go from playing football the way you did for 6 quarters and then you go to what we've seen. I guess the Titans game, whatever. I mean, they almost lost that game at the end, but there's no way for you to honestly think that this team can't be better, right? Like,
Yeah.
sure, Tyrod isn't like this superstar quarterback, but I mean, through 6 weeks, people were talking about him like there were fans, some fans that were Deshaun who, right? Because I mean, he really ran the offense extremely well. He looked composed in the pocket. I mean, there was a lot of good things going. There's no way that you have this big of a drop off from
Yeah.
a talent perspective, right? Because the talent is the same. So um, it doesn't make any sense. The Jets are worse than the Jags at every level. Okay, there's nothing that the Jets do better than the Jaguars, and yet we still lost to the Jets. This is a week after we beat the Titans. It's just there's really no other way to look at it other than they are just embracing the tank.
Yeah. I mean, it after the first drive, we had 2 drives in a row where the team looked very professional. It looked like we were going to actually it actually for a moment looked like we were going to run away from the Jets.
Yep.
And then it was almost like somebody got the call from upstairs like, "What are y'all doing? Don't win again."
Yeah.
And the offense just went into complete tank mode. And part of me thinks that you're onto something that it has to almost be on purpose. Like the players don't know, but like the play calling is just purposely bad or something like that. Because I really don't even know how to explain it. I mean that makes as much sense as anything. Because that I'm just at a loss for words. Tyrod Taylor has the exact same numbers as Davis Mills. The exact same. Exclude if you take away those first 6 quarters, everything else since he's come back, you wouldn't know that it's Davis Mills or Tyrod Taylor. And we currently are on pace to have not only the worst offensive DVOA this season, but I was reading it was like it'll be the worst of the last 10 years. Like this is just a historically bad offense. And there's pieces there that wouldn't think that it should be this bad. Like Brandon Cooks has a lot of talent. Nico Collins has talent. I know we're tired of Rex Burkhead, but he's considered. Um, and I mean, there's depending on how you want to look at it. Like Pro Football Focus has him as the number 8 receiving running back in the league right now, and yet they're still trying to give more touches to David Johnson. It's almost like you're right. They want to lose because there's enough pieces there where we're not going to be great, but not to be historically bad, and we are historically bad. And then just go figure. Titus Howard, he actually had his again. It's how much do you want to put into PFF? But according to them, he also had his best game of his career at left tackle. Go figure.
Yeah.
Finally get him there.
Yeah, I honestly like. There's just nothing else that you can say. Like the talent is there, right? On the defensive side of the ball, the talent's there. They're definitely doing things. Yeah, they're not perfect. They make mistakes. The middle of the field is always open for any tight end. Doesn't matter who it is. But outside of that, I mean, the defense has definitely evolved. I mean, I think I don't know where they're ranked. But I think if I remember correctly in the offseason, we said that if this team could just be 23rd ranked defense, this team will be a lot better. That was obviously when we thought Deshaun Watson was going to be playing quarterback for the Texans. But at the end of the day, like they did that part right. And they found some diamonds, right? They found some diamonds in the rough. Gruger Hill is definitely a player that is worth signing long term and building around. You're going to let Zach go. Malik Collins is another guy that is definitely worth keeping around. So there are some pieces there. And then, so it all comes down to this offense and the way that it's being ran from a quarterback standpoint, from a game plan standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, from an offensive line, run blocking standpoint. This team there's just things that you see it do on film and you're just like, dude, there's no way you guys are this bad.
No,
Like
you're
honestly,
right.
you can't. And Jair brings up a great point. Not a coincidence. The only coordinator retained is stinking it up. Tim Kelly is awful,
Yeah.
awful,
You
awful,
went
awful, awful play calling. Seriously.
you went from again the first 6 quarters of the season where there's a lot of the guys like the film grinders out there like Dane Kugler that
Dane
we
Brugler.
consider that we consider very very smart guys, and they were singing the praises of Tim Kelly with what he was putting together. Like how creative the Texans offense was, how they were using their players for the first 6 quarters. Like the exact comment I think that he wrote was like, "You wouldn't believe me, but we have to take a look at the Texans play calling." Um, then he went ultra conservative with Mills, which I mean, you have a quarterback, and apparently they have a philosophy there. I don't know who the philosophy came from that the worst thing in the world is for a quarterback to turn over the ball. So they went ultra conservative with him. And now that Tyrod's back, they've kept that ultra conservative mentality, and they don't have the players to play that conservative. Like there's just so much of a talent gap to do anything. They've got to take some shots, and they just don't. For whatever reason, they just don't.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on. I think um this entire just this season is just it's not worth watching. It's really honestly not. Like put it on red zone, like watch the other games. If the Texans get in the red zone, like awesome. But like outside of that, there's really no reason to watch this team. Like this team is so bad. They're so bad. I think I've only been to like 2 games this season. They're that bad. I'm not driving from Austin to Houston, spending the amount of money I would spend, $300-400 every Saturday, Sunday, or whatever it may be, from a hotel room to food to just everything else that it entails. It's just not worth it. I'd rather go to a bar and watch other games or hang out with my kids. It's terrible football. It's terrible football, and
Yeah.
I get the frustration from fans, the lack of transparency. I would agree to an extent, but at the same time, I also know like they can't come out and just say, "Yeah, we're tanking." Like the Browns didn't do that. Like teams don't do that. So you're never going to hear Nick Caserio come out and be like, "Yeah, we're trying to adjust our draft position to ensure a better pick for a player that we're going to be able to build around in the future." Like that's not how it works. Like you can't do that. So I totally get it, but it does suck, right? Because you wonder what the plan has been. I'd like to have a conversation like, was the plan at the beginning to compete, and then Tyrod got hurt and things just changed. It was a worse injury than you thought. Ended up being 5 games. Like where did you guys make the change? When did it happen? Like when did you guys understand that it was time to make a decision? But at the end of the day, like this team is bad, and like the whole Justin Reid thing. Like obviously we need to talk about it. I get it. Like yeah, here's the part that I wish people would harp on more than the fact that he was suspended or benched is he's a guy from the beginning, very well spoken, very educated, very team oriented, team first guy, always says the right thing, seems to always be there, grinds, put up with everything he's gone through, injuries, terrible organization in the sense of like some of the way that things were managed, not playing him in the right scheme specific to his skill set, all sorts of different things, right? But this guy, he's been a great guy since he came into the league. And that should be the focal point of why this disagreement that happened was enough for him to be suspended. Look, if the players can't speak out against things that they don't they disagree with in an open forum with their coaches, then what was the point of moving on from Bill O'Brien? I mean, honestly, like if you're not able to be in your workspace and provide constructive feedback or express concern in a professional manner, which I would assume Justin Reid did because we have every reason to believe that that's exactly how Justin Reid did it based on what we've seen from him in the past. If if that's not the case right now and that's not the culture you guys are establishing, then there was no reason to fire Bill O'Brien in the first place because it sounds like the same exact culture to an extent.
It actually
And
sounds worse, to tell you the truth.
it does. It really does. Yeah, it
I
really
mean,
does.
for all the issues we had with Bill O'Brien, like the one thing other than losing JJ Watt, for the most part, he kept the players behind him. And the situation when he finally got fired with that disagreement, like we weren't there, but for the most part, Bill O'Brien kept allowed players to have an honest forum. He kept them. Um, what happened with Reid and Cully? To me, that's actually very concerning because I think that this year was just kind of like a throwaway year. Like I know
We've
they're gonna
said that
say
from
all
the
the right,
beginning.
yeah. Like from a GM perspective, like I think Caserio. I mean, they said all the right things. Like we're gonna be competitive. We're gonna try and be competitive. Blah 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 blah. But this year was a throwaway year. Like he didn't have draft capital. He didn't have a lot of cap space. This is what he was forced to sign. And he wanted to go out there, and we don't have any veterans on our team. Like it really is almost treating it like an expansion team in some regard. Like not that we didn't have any veterans, we just didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
So trying to rebuild that core. Um, so okay, that makes sense. Like everything we've talked about, like that actually makes sense. Then the next thing is Cully probably is a placeholder coach. Not probably, he is a placeholder coach. But what I meant to say probably is there may have been something to it with the Deshaun Watson uncertainty that he was the only one that was actually going to take the job
Yeah.
without speaking to Deshaun. Like essentially that's the conversation that I heard. Like if they couldn't get a hold of Deshaun and Deshaun wouldn't speak to him, they weren't going to take the job for some of the other candidates. Cully didn't care. He was going to take the job regardless. So there may be some truth to that. So you've got a guy that is a placeholder until they get that situation resolved. And the reason that they are okay with him being a placeholder is he's supposed to be a culture guy. But he keeps suspending players.
Yep.
Like, this is some of the This is some of that bullshit that they always talk about that college coaches struggle with when they come into the NFL. Because these guys are grown men, they are professional athletes. They're not supposed to be treated like children. And the fact that they keep suspending people for weird, not necessarily weird things, like it's not to say that the guys that are getting suspended were necessarily in the wrong or in the right, but the fact that every week he's suspending like a key guy, or it's almost like, are you just trying to make a statement at this point? And the situation that you hear coming from Justin Reid, like again, there's three sides to every story. What Justin says, what Cully says, what really happened. But for him to say that they had another conversation where he thought that everything was okay, and then to be suspended for a week, to be blindsided by that,
Yeah.
that's concerning. That's very concerning.
Yeah. And well, and then like
So
Ali mentions, like Ross Blacklock, being a fool on the sideline. Look, I saw it, but I'll be honest. Ross was called for 2 offsides last week, and then a crucial offsides this week. Like he definitely needs to clean that up. Like he can act a fool all he wants. I'm not going to say that that's a part of the that's a that's something against the culture. He could have been mad at himself. I mean that's a ton of offside penalties. He leads the team in offside penalties. Like he's definitely not been good at that. Ross has been a good player and he's definitely gotten better, but at the end of the day, I mean he was offsides and he continues to be offsides. But yeah, I don't know. But I will say this: for everybody that called Justin Reid a star, I find that to be just quite hilarious. To be honest, like
yeah,
that's not a phrase I use. There isn't a star on this team. There's emerging stars. Jonathan Grenard looks like he'll be an emerging star. That actually might be the only emerging star. But outside of that, like Justin Reid is not a star. Is he the best safety on the team? Sure, hands down. Is he a star? No, he's not a star. His play hasn't been consistent enough to warrant being a star. Since his rookie year, he really hasn't had a good year in the NFL. So, and you could say scheme. I get it. I totally understand. Maybe not all his something that he can control, but at the end of the day, he's not a star. So, I thought that was interesting that that's what people were calling Justin Reid.
yeah. No, I mean,
Good player, not
yeah,
a
he's a
star.
good player, but he's also kind of plateaued, and it's been injuries. He's been played out of position.
Yep.
Like, and we've talked about it at length because Reed is one of this podcast's favorite players
Yep.
for a lot of regards. But he hasn't reached that level that we all think that he's capable of, and just whatever reason that may be, he just hasn't gotten there yet. Now, out of the guys that we currently have on the roster, I mean, Blacklock is probably the one that's most likely going to be, or not Blacklock, Grenard. Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
Grenard is most likely going to be the guy that could probably turn into a star. Reed, if you had said 2 years ago he would still have that sort of ceiling, at this point, time's running out for him
Yeah.
to take that next step. He just may not be capable of taking that next step,
And
which
he
would be a
won't be here
shame
next
because
year.
it looked like he could. And yeah, he probably won't be here next year. Like my money's on him not being here next year.
I
So
wouldn't sign him to a long-term
yeah,
deal. Yeah, I don't
uh,
know. It's kind of crazy when you just take everything into consideration. But um, Jacob looks like he's turning. He's becoming a better player.
yeah, Jacob Martin is an exceptional pass rusher.
Yeah,
Whether or not he needs to be out there every down, every play, Uh,
situational guy.
he's he's kind of struggling a little bit with that, but as a situational pass rusher, he's one of the best in the league. Like he has one of the higher win rates still. Like he's getting home, he's creating havoc. He's just not so much on the run game. Like he gets there's times where they take advantage of him.
Yeah,
Which again, if we had more depth, like if we had a really solid linebacking crew, like that wouldn't matter. But where we're at right now as a roster, like guys that have weaknesses, because every guy has weaknesses, they get exposed even more.
yeah,
So, but I mean, he's somebody that I would definitely, depending on the contract, like I hope he sticks around.
yeah. I
But
would agree. I would agree. All right, I'm gonna throw a look at Pat in the chat. Nice. What's
whoa,
up, Pat?
who's that stranger?
Um, I'm gonna throw a scenario at you.
Okay.
And then I want to see everybody's comments if they would actually pull the trigger on something like this. So before the 2021 season, Russell Wilson, there was chatter that Russell Wilson wanted to be traded. Right now, we all know Russell Wilson is a devoted Christian. His faith is a huge part of him, and it seems that the culture that we're building is strictly around religion. Whether that equates to wins in the NFL, you know, I don't know. I'd likely say no, but you know, in all fairness, faith is a strong thing. So you get the right players together with the right faith, it's definitely possible. But
I mean, we talk about it and we kind of roll our eyes about it as we should, because for us, like we want a team that's professional and winning. But honestly, if when you've been around like football culture, most of these guys are that's how most of them at least present themselves, whether or
yeah,
not they actually are.
right.
Like
Two
especially
totally different
these
things.
kids from the South, like they all grew up going to church, they all
Yep.
grew up saying it. So the thing with Russ is he actually seems to kind of follow through on it. Seems
Yeah.
maybe, but who knows?
Yeah. So if let's say that Russ wants out next off season, and and Seattle goes through it looks like they might, there's Peter King came out today, said, it might be time for a change. Let's say that Seattle goes through coaching changes, maybe even possible GM changes. Would you trade Deshaun Watson to Seattle for Russell Wilson, a first round pick, and two twos?
I'd want more than that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I would.
Okay.
I'd want
So
at least
they don't
another. I would
another
want at
first?
least another player.
Oh,
At
another
least another
player.
player.
I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
don't know if you can get another first. I mean, Russ is still somewhat young. What is he, 29,
Yeah. I think so.
28,
He's 28,
29?
29.
Yeah. So you still got 7, 8 years with him. But if that was something that happened, how would you guys feel about Russell Wilson being here? Let's say you get what you want, John. Let's say you get a player, Russ, a first round pick, and two twos. How would you feel about the trade?
Depending on the other player, I mean, optimistic. Like,
Let's say a young secondary player, young cornerback.
yeah. I mean, optimistic and hopeful, especially since we'd already have our draft picks. So we would still have young talent coming in, plus adding additional. What scares me though is Russ wants to win.
Sure. Would
We
Russ be winning on this team right now with this defense and the way that they're playing? Not the way that the play calling and all that goes, but let's just say from a Russ perspective. Like, would we have beat the Jets with Russell
should.
Wilson?
He should. We would definitely be better.
Would we have beat the Jets?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Would we have beat the Browns?
Yes.
Would we have beat the Colts?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we would have beat the
Dolphins.
Patriots.
Dolphins.
Yes.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at 6 wins with Russ right
Yeah.
now. So I guess my point is I think you could win with Russ currently, and then you add in the draft picks and the free agency and things of that nature. You could potentially start to turn it around a lot quicker than you could with a
Well,
rookie
I
quarterback.
think they just said that he's 33. So if he's 33, that means we only have, especially the style of play that he is, we probably have 5 years with him.
Okay, 5 years. 5 years.
So for two of those five, I would say that our ceiling would be essentially where it was with a healthy Deshaun a couple years back. We'll get to the playoffs, maybe a little bit of potential to make some noise, but we're not going to be a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Now, suffering through this season, I know that usually your response is, well, it's like Super Bowl or bust. That's like what we should be building towards.
Yep.
I liked winning more games than losing.
Yeah.
Like even like this has just been such a miserable season.
Yeah.
So
Miserable. Miserable. So would
I
you rather
mean,
have that Russ trade or the Dolphins offer?
oh shoot,
Yeah.
it depends on the years of the picks.
Well, they're all. I mean, you got to think. Okay, so if the Dolphins are offering you,
Three
you know,
first, right?
three ones, right? That's one next year, or two. Yeah, two next year, one the following year.
I mean, here's the problem. It's hard to find a good quarterback.
Yeah,
And
that's not
having a
guaranteed.
having a top 5 pick in the NFL draft and picking a quarterback that you supposedly want, also not a guarantee.
Yep,
Let's look at the guys that are number 1 picks and how they're doing. Not so
yep,
great.
yep. Except for
So,
Joey Burrow. Big fan of Joey Burrow.
yeah, well, other than Joey Burrow. But that's actually the exception more than the rule right now.
Yep,
Like it's so
100%.
hard. It's so hard to find the right quarterback.
Yep,
So with Russell Wilson, for 3 years you have at least an above average,
yep,
and then 2 years you've got a guy that probably smart, but he's probably going to be on the bench more than not because he's going to be hurt all the time.
yep,
Like I don't think his quality of play is going to drop off. I just think how often he's going to be able to play is going to be affected.
yep,
I would probably actually go for Russ.
yep. I think I would too.
I would just rather, I'd rather get back to even if it's like slightly above mediocre, because that's so much better than being absolutely awful.
Winning the division at this point would have been, Dune and Katie's always tweeting it, but it's like you guys really honestly took for granted the division wins
Yeah.
because it gave you a shot at going to the Super Bowl, right? It gave you a shot. You were in the playoffs. Whether you did or didn't, totally another conversation. But winning the division, if you just asked every player in the league, that's the first goal. It's winning the division. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Russ and obviously this is just hypothetical, right? We're just throwing a fun scenario around just to have a conversation. It's not like there's any murmurs or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like that trade would be a more interesting trade than what we would get from Miami. Only reason being is because you solved the biggest pain point that you will have because Russ is a top 5, top 7 quarterback in this league, right? Um, I think top 5 really. I don't think I don't think maybe he's having a down year, but the entire franchise is. But I would still likely put him at a top 5 quarterback status. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would just be more interesting. But I just thought I'd throw it out there.
But
Reid, yeah, go ahead.
but here's ultimately the problem. This coaching staff.
Yeah,
That's I didn't think that we could get worse than Bill O'Brien, but I am actually in the camp that offensively, because we have Tim Kelly, who is a Bill O'Brien play calling clone, and then Coley doing whatever Coley does. Like he's been relatively good for 2 weeks. He hasn't made any decisions that have cost us, at least embarrassment.
yeah.
But I have no faith in Cully
No, me
and no
neither.
faith in Tim Kelly.
Me neither.
So it doesn't really matter who we got. We could get Aaron Rodgers to come play for us next year. If we have the same coaching staff, I'm terrified.
Yeah, I would agree. The coaching staff is just. I would rather have Bill O'Brien. This team probably would have at least we'd be winning games. Um, well, I guess not. I don't know. He was pretty bad last year, but a little different. But yeah, I don't know. Reid, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. If you guys get a chance, look at Malik Willis's Twitter. His tweets strike me as a guy that's perfect for the Texans culture. I personally wouldn't take him any sooner than round 2. Look at his tweets. Definitely will, bro. Definitely will. Appreciate that. Appreciate the shout out too. Yeah, I don't know. This team is just they're bad. They're bad. They're bad. They're not fun. Um, it's hard watching the games, to be honest with you. I mean, it really is. It's really hard to watch the games. Um, so yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I don't want to continue to beat a dead horse, but um, what else you got on Texans? Anything Texans related?
Not really. I mean, it's just such a like I mean, it's just is what it is at this point. Like we keep like that's our mentality. Like me and James do not like being like this, but we try to look for the positives. We try to look for things that would be happy about or excited about. Like we are extremely passionate about football. And
Hmm.
right now, it's just surviving the season. Like I know next year will be better. I don't know if we'll win more games next year, but I think that having the reset, getting all that money off the off off the
Books.
cap, getting the draft picks, getting hopefully the Deshaun situation resolved. Like all that will be like a huge weight lifted off the franchise and things will start actually happening in a positive manner, I believe. But surviving the rest of this year, I mean, it's going to be tough. Like these are really going to be like therapy sessions. Like
Yeah.
hopefully they keep looking for guys that are on practice squads. Hopefully they do something. They keep churning the roster. I mean, they have
They
been
should be
churning the roster,
purging.
but
They should be
there's
purging every practice squad around the league right
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason for them to not be pulling a new guy from the practice squad and putting him in the starting lineup. Period.
Oh, I definitely agree. I mean, part of what breaks my heart right now watching them is they still continue to trot out David Johnson for as many snaps as they have been. Like, let somebody else try.
Yeah.
Anybody else at this point. But
I really hope that Jimmy Garoppolo is on our quarterback next year.
I mean,
I know he's been good this year, but
and he's got a much better play caller than we do. So
100%, bro. 100%. All right, do you guys want me to open these
hey, I've got something
2021?
that's gonna before we open those. I'm gonna talk about a little bit of something because you're wearing a Stussy hat.
Okay.
Um,
That's all I wear.
do you do what?
That's all I wear.
That's
T-shirts and
all you
everything.
wear?
Yeah, I don't have
I
any
was
other
gonna say
shirts.
this is not an advertisement. This is one of those. I just got one of those Thread Beast boxes,
Oh yeah,
and if I can get somebody else to get one, I get one for free. So
fantastic.
it's like this is the first time like I can buy any clothes that I've ever wanted. Like I've always had to buy clothes that I could wear to work.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm just kind of giving it a shout out because they did send me did you say it's Stussy?
Stussy.
Stussy. I wore the shirts in high school and I never knew how to say it.
Yeah,
Little yellow S. But they actually sent me one of their shirts.
nice. Which
This
one?
hat. Stussy design. It
It
just
just
says like
says Stussy
Stussy
Designs
design.
on it.
Yeah.
Is that a
So
Stussy hat too?
this is a Diamond Co.
Oh, Diamond Company. Okay.
Yeah. But no, like if I can get somebody to go on my Twitter and click the link, I get another free box. So
Hey.
that's hey, I'm gonna use my voice right now because it's something fun to talk about. You're
Yeah.
wearing one of those, and you're wearing that hat, so
Yeah. Um. No, Thread Beast is cool too. Thread Beast is actually really cool. I did it a couple times. I did. I also did the. Oh, I forgot what it's called. Oh, it's another one. It's a little bit more expensive, but
Oh really?
it's like work clothes. But I don't
Okay.
wear work clothes really much anymore. But um, yeah, I don't know. I saw
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, by the way. It
Oh,
was
how was that?
actually, dude, it was actually really good.
Was it? Okay.
It was really good. Don't Take Jack. It's somewhat scary, but
Okay.
it's a little darker than some of the ones in the past. But it was definitely a good movie. Very good script, good actors, um, very good storyline, cool graphics. I think it was a good movie. Definitely worth seeing for sure. Did you get
Okay.
Spider-Man tickets yet?
Yes, for Thursday night,
Yeah, me too. What time you going?
7:50. Actually,
Okay,
really excited. Um,
we're going at
and then
4.
speaking at 4. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Are are you able to take? Well, yeah, you can take Parker.
Oh
Is it?
yeah. I don't go to those without Parker. Parker's seen the
Yeah.
Eternals. He's seen it all. He's seen Venom 2.
Oh,
I,
really?
I just have conversations with him and let him know like, hey, this isn't real world. It's not real life. This is a movie. You need to understand the difference between the two. Um, but yeah,
Okay. Because
I've seen episode 1 of Hawkeye, by the way, Jair. It was good.
yeah, Hawkeye's really good. I've seen 1 and 2.
I haven't seen 2 yet.
Um, yeah, 2. I think two's even better than 1, but you just gotta watch them. Then just speaking of like kids movies, like, well, first off, I don't know when I can start letting Jack watch like the Marvel movies because he turns 5 next month. Like, it's crazy. That is crazy for me to even wrap my head around.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's all. I know a lot of parents have like their own
Mhm.
like. It's all up to them, but it should be up to the kid. Not like, hey, kid, do you want to watch this? But more or
Yeah,
less like
definitely.
the mature aspect of your child, right?
Mhm.
Is your child a little bit more mature? and understands, these types of things. You can have a conversation about blood and it being fake and things of that nature. You can't go around just eating people and turning into, venom and things like that. But, I think I was kind of lucky. Parker's kind of always been a pretty chill and understandable kid. I think Jack would probably be fine with Spider-Man. I don't know if I'd take him to see Venom too.
Yeah, well, I've always wondered if part of that with Parker is because he's the youngest. Like you've got the two older kids, and so you couldn't hide that stuff from him. Like it was always on.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that definitely played a part. But I also like, I mean, let's see, he was born in 2012, so before him, so 2009, me and Nate would go see the midnight releases of Iron Man 2, Thor, Cap, and the Avengers. And then when Parker turned 3, I started to take him to all of them. But you got to remember, like at that time, all those movies, like there really wasn't a darkness aspect to any of those, right?
right.
Like I'm trying to think, like Iron Man 3, not dark. Guardians, not dark. Um, Ragnarok, not dark. Black Panther, not dark. Like they really didn't start to get dark until Infinity War and Endgame. And then of course like Venom and stuff like that. But um, yeah, I don't
But
know.
those
I
those are
mean,
Fox movies too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. I would take him to see Spider Man, but that's just me. I don't know how Jack does at the movie theaters.
Well, have you seen how do you say it? Incantero?
No, I haven't.
Encanto?
Mm-mm.
First off, it's a fantastic movie. It's a
Makes
really, really good
sense.
movie.
It's Disney.
Yeah, it is. It is Disney.
It's gonna be good.
So by kid movie standards, and with
Sure.
Jack loves movies, so I've seen all the kids movies. Like comparing that to like Clifford, God shoot me if I have to watch Clifford one more time.
Yeah,
But
Jackie took
Encanto,
Parker to see that.
dude, you dodged a bullet. It's not.
I don't take him to see those types of movies. Like I'm like, no,
Uh,
bro. Like I'm not going to see that.
Ron Gone Wrong is actually really good.
Okay.
That one's actually really good. That one's good. And however you say it, Encantero is really good too. But Jack got scared during that movie, like during a
Mm,
Disney movie. So I don't
yeah.
know.
Then I wouldn't take him to see Spider Man because there's gonna be some dark aspects to it.
Oh yeah. It,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I kind
okay.
of feel like they're gonna be scared of something, right? Like you, and you got to have a conversation with them. So you can either like prolong the scareness or just kind of toughen them up a little bit. I'm not saying Jack needs to be toughened up, but
It's just
Jack's a tough ass kid.
it's the weirdest things that like sets him off. Like we went on Pirates of the Caribbean and he tried to hide under the seat.
Yeah, pirates can be somewhat.
Like that first
I don't
five
know.
minutes with or the first couple of minutes with the skeleton and all that.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
on
know.
that,
I think,
I'm talking about the ride.
but it's also
Um,
dark. Yeah, yeah. No, I know, but it's dark. It's dark in there. There's cannons shot out of nowhere.
mhm.
Water pops up out of the ground. Like I think there's some somewhat scary stuff to it. We just rode it last weekend. I mean, it's one of my favorite rides, but it's definitely, I would say, on the verge of dark.
Okay.
But
Is
Parker's
that?
still scared of the dark.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and he's 9.
Okay. Because I was gonna say like that Pirates of the Caribbean like actually like scared Jack, but doing like the Rise of the Resistance, the Star Wars one, where
It
there
was great.
was like some things that were kind of
It was a
that I
great
thought were
ride.
gonna scare him, like he was just all about it, and he was in the middle of it. Like he's sitting there like yelling at Kylo Ren because he wants Kylo Ren to be his best friend.
You guys, so
Um,
wait, you guys went to Disneyland or Disney World?
Disney World.
Oh, okay. So they have Rise of Resistance at Disney World too.
Hmm.
Did you have to get on the queue?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They ended the queue on Monday, but yeah,
Oh
we
no
got
no no no.
lucky.
We just got in line actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had to
The
hit the
lines weren't
app
that bad.
and actually schedule it.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure people are tired of hearing about our kids, but one last story uh, from Disney World was we did Star Tours, and at Star Tours
Great
they take a
ride.
picture of y'all,
Yep,
and one person they say, "Hey, he's the Alliance
yep,
spy."
yep, yep. And it was Jack.
Jack, it was Jack,
That's
and
hilarious.
Jack didn't want me to tell anybody that they said it because he said he wasn't the spy. He didn't want Kylo Ren to be mad at him.
That's
He's
hilarious.
like, "Don't, Daddy, that's wrong. That's not me. Don't tell anybody."
That's so funny. That's awesome. Yeah, we had a great time. We built the droids. All of us built lightsabers. We got to eat. I've always wanted to do this, and you have to like make reservations like 3 months ahead of time. But we got to do breakfast with the characters, so that was
Oh,
pretty cool.
nice.
Yeah, it just randomly popped up on the app as a spot open. I was like, I'll take it. It was expensive, but it was good.
I mean, everything's expensive there.
Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, Disneyland's cool. I love Disneyland. I have fun every time I go. Like I feel like a big old kid. But I've never been to Disney World, but
I'm
I guess
telling
I'm
you,
just
man.
just
Once
partial to
Jack's old
California.
enough, we should be doing the Star Cruiser.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That opens this year, so I'm sure you'll do it beforehand. But he apparently you have to be 7 to do it. So 2 years.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess the Texans play the Colts on Sunday. I thought they actually
This
played the Seahawks this Sunday,
is
so
it.
but it's next Sunday that the Seahawks come. And the Colts look like a real team. The Colts look. It's funny. When Jordan came, we all went to dinner, and I told Jordan and Paul and the other guy that was there, I was like, "Yo, the Colts are going to win that division. Just watch. It's going to click. It's all going to start working." And what they do, they almost beat the freaking Bucks in a very, very good game on Sunday. And the Titans lost to the Patriots. So the Colts are 1 game back. And I still think they have 2 games to play against the Titans. So the Colts are going to win this division. And I think the Colts can be somewhat of a scary team in the playoffs. I really do. Their
Oh yeah,
defense is starting to put it together. Carson Wentz is playing at a much higher level than we've seen from Carson Wentz in the last 2 years. Um, they got weapons all around them. They got a fast, fast defense. Um, that team's
and
going to be
then
very interesting to watch.
Jonathan Taylor is just something
A
else.
monster, dude. Just a
Yeah,
monster. Um, so yeah, so the Colts should demolish us this Sunday. That'll be fun. Um,
always.
I don't know. Maybe the like division game thing is a thing though. Like we beat the Titans, so like
Well, we bought
maybe we
we
don't
let's
take
be honest,
against.
we beat the corpse of the Titans. Like everybody on that team's hurt.
I don't care.
And I in our regard, like the Titans were trying to defend themselves like, "Oh, these guys are barely practice squad players and we have them starting in the NFL."
Yeah,
And my comment on that is like, "Well, that's the entire Texans roster. Is
yeah,
barely off the practice squad." So
hundred
that's not
percent.
a fair excuse, but for losing to us. But when you look at like their records, we're not playing the Titans that had the best record in the AFC. We were playing
No,
the Titans that, still an NFL team, still a good win, but this isn't a team that was anywhere near full strength. Whereas this Colts team, especially behind Jonathan Taylor, is just gonna smash us.
yeah. Jonathan Taylor is going to go off because he didn't. Did he go off against the Bucks? I don't think so.
I don't know.
So I think that there was like this thing going around where it was like every other week Jonathan Taylor goes off. Um, so I don't think he went off against the Bucks, which means he'll go off against us. Yeah, and Jair's right. The Colts giving up the first to the Eagles for Carson Wentz is definitely a dub. I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, this season sucks. I'm sorry, guys. Look, at least the draft will be fun. We'll probably
Yeah,
do something for the draft. A lot of people have been tagging me, asking me if we're going to do anything for the draft. We'll probably do an event for the draft, just because it'll be fun. It'll probably be the first time we have something to actually celebrate. Deshaun will be gone, hopefully. Another thing, the women that are accusing have the allegations filed against Deshaun Watson did testify today under oath. Now that was the only thing that we know. We don't know how many people actually testified or if anybody dropped their suits, but they did testify today under oath. So um, there's some news in the Deshaun Watson realm.
yeah. We just need closure there. We just need that over and done with.
The NFT is done, but I don't know how to. I don't know how to make a smart contract and actually post it. If
Oh,
anybody knows, do you know how to do it?
I do not. I
If
could find
anybody,
out. I mean,
that's your
I
realm.
yeah, I know some people that have made them.
You
Let me
should
see if I
make
can figure out.
NFTs. You should make NFTs. You should just make
That's
NFTs, even if they sell or don't. Just look at the most popular NFTs and just sell them.
yeah. I thought about it, looking especially at some of the things that people are selling as NFTs. I'm like,
Yeah, dude.
they're not
Like
overly impressive.
a monkey
Like, you know?
smoking a cigarette is like $4 million.
I know,
What?
right?
What? That's crazy. Shiba to the moon. How's Pat? Pat is actually doing really well. Pat's I talked to him yesterday. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. Pat's doing really well. He's enjoying life. So that's good. Um, yeah, if anybody knows how to post the NFT, let me know. It's done. John, if you do it, awesome. Let me know. I'll split the cost or whatever it may be. Because I think it'll sell for a decent amount. I think it'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's
It
kind
is
of like one
hilarious.
of those things that I want to cover my face about, but it's absolutely
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. James, who are you taking at number 2? Hutchinson, hands down. Unless for some reason he goes 1 and Kavion falls. But I'm going pass rusher. Um,
I mean, honestly, if
that
we have
too.
the second pick, like Kavion or Hutchinson, like either way, like you walk out happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one cool thing about this like off season is that we get to actually do like deep dives into the draft this year, right? Like, because like the last 2 years we haven't really been able to do anything with the draft because everything was day 2, day 3. So it'll be exciting this year. So I guess we'll kind of get back to normal with Texans Unfiltered stuff. You guys will be able to actually be excited to tune in instead of tuning in because it's a routine. Kind of like
You
what we
know,
do. We record because it's a routine. Uh,
I'm actually I'm actually looking forward to studying like draftable people. Like
yeah.
I think what's going to happen though is we're all going to be super excited. We're going to have like a top 5 pick and then watch it get traded back.
I mean, it might. I mean, that would definitely be
And
the
it's not
Patriots'
and it's not
way. You know what I
necessarily
mean?
the and it's not necessarily the wrong move,
I
especially
think
if we
at
end up
that
having
point,
multiple, especially if we have multiple first round picks in
yeah,
this year's draft, if we trade back and we're able to really stack them. But that's it. I'm just saying, like, we're going to get all excited. We're going to start studying again. We're going to do research again. We're going to get on our mock drafts, and then something like that's going to happen.
yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. But when it comes to that number 2 pick, like I feel like there's all like if you hold 1, 2, or 3, you're in a power position to be able to really negotiate and gain quite a bit of draft capital, and that's really when it makes the most sense because there's going to be 2 quarterbacks. Nobody's talking about them, right? But there's going to be 2 quarterbacks that come out of nowhere that people identify as worthy of the first overall pick or the second overall fit.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
has to be a quarterback. Like,
it has to.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're trading back whether or not it's still like if we ended the season we're still at pick number 2, we're going to trade back whether or not it's to like pick 3, 4, or 5. Like that may actually happen because yeah, there's
Yeah.
going to be 2 quarterbacks that people are like they're not going to actually be first round or first or second overall rated, but they're quarterbacks and everybody overvalues quarterbacks. Like that's just what happens. Like I mean, just look at the year that Trubisky was drafted.
Yeah.
Nobody thought he was really worth a number 2, but the Bears went up and got him. And granted, it didn't work out, but things like that are going to happen. Like you could even say that with like Trey Lance with the
Robert
Niners this
Griffin,
past year. Yeah, like
Jake
people.
Locker, you
Oh
know,
yeah, Jake Locker.
EJ
Like
Manuel. Like, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of examples to go off of that, things like this can.
I mean Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, another one. Yeah.
Remember what was funny about Carson Wentz is if you went by just like talent level, like he was expected to fall to the Texans. But he got identified as the number 2 quarterback in that draft behind Jared Goff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Would you
so
would
what
you guys
happens?
take Daniel Jones?
Would I take Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
I mean, with the right coordinator.
I honestly, I've seen some of his tape. He's not bad.
No, I mean he's not
He's not a
franchise changing, but I
no.
think that get him with the right coordinator and does it push us over the no, but it's a low volume, it's a low investment. And then if it's part of the Deshaun Watson trade, like you also get picks back. So it's one of those that it's like, At least we have somebody to play the quarterback position until we find the right person to play quarterback.
Whoa, this is crazy. Matt LaFleur and Robert Saleh. I didn't see this. Did you see this?
Oh, the story about them and
Shovel and snow.
yeah, dude, that's awful.
Jesus.
I hope none of y'all are LSU fans.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Daniel Jones, I think, would be interesting. I mean, if you're giving us 4 first-round picks or whatever it may be, I mean, the Panthers are still going to be in it. There's so many teams that are going to be in this now. It's wild. Washington's going to be in it. I don't think they'll stick with Heineke. Carolina will be in it. Giants will be in it. If the Trey Lance stuff is true, maybe the Niners are back potentially in it. Steelers are in it. Who else? There's even a couple more. I feel like Vikings might be in it. Who else? Green Bay maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Cleveland maybe.
Dude, hey, would you take Baker Mayfield?
Oh man, no. But
No. Would you sign?
yeah,
Would you sign Baker Mayfield as a free agent next year?
No.
No, because you think somebody's
going to overpay him.
Yeah. Broncos. Yep.
For what it would take to pay, like if we got Baker Mayfield for essentially free, like yeah, he'd be the best quarterback on our roster. But
is Baker better than Brock Osweiler?
Yeah, I would say he's better than Brock.
Okay.
From a talent level, but he seems like he might be a little bit of a locker room cancer.
Yeah, I don't know if they would go after him.
And I mean, you've already had some fun with things he's done in his past. So
yeah, I'd have a lot of fun with that one.
What was the Cheesecake Factory?
Cheesecake Factory with the Gremlins.
That's another NFT you can have made right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely would. I'd have that worked up right away. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting offseason just for the NFL in general. Like, you got Russell Wilson, you got Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield's out in Cleveland most likely, which I don't blame them. I think it'd be probably the smartest personnel move that the Cleveland Browns have ever actually made if they do decide to have the balls to move on from Baker Mayfield. Well, isn't next year his 5th year though? Or is this year his 5th year? No, next year's his 5th year,
next
right?
Year's his 5th. He's not going to be a free agent. They're not going to decline his 5th year.
Nah, it's only like $12 million.
Yeah. Whether or not they resign him after his 5th, but they're not going to decline his 5th year. Like,
no.
I mean, it's the Browns, but even the Browns wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I don't know. The Rams might be in for a quarterback. Not that they have anything to trade.
I mean, they always seem to find a way somehow.
They really do. They really do. Oh man. All right. Well, I guess that's it. I guess we'll save the card opening for another time in case we need it. We'll keep it in our back pocket.
Somehow we got 55 minutes out of this. That's kind of impressive to tell you.
How does Baker Mayfield hate Texas? He's from Austin.
He hates the University of Texas, but
he
still lives here in Austin.
Yeah, he has a home in Austin.
Yeah.
He loves Texas.
Too many people that have run into Baker.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Mayfield loves Texas. He's a Texas boy. You think real quick, let's just go through like around the league. You think the Saints move on from Sean Payton next year?
If they do, I hope we hire him.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Is he a Christian?
I don't know. I don't think
Isn't that crazy that we need to ask that?
I mean, I'm sure. Well, here's the thing. Like, when you're saying, "Are you a Christian?" Like, that's a whole nother level of layers. Like, 99% of the NFL identifies
are you a devout
as
Christian? Are you a devout?
It's not even
do you
devout.
Practice the
it's
faith?
Like, are you evangelical or like?
Well, I don't know if that matters to an extent. I think it's more of, do you live the Christian lifestyle more than anything?
I mean,
right?
I mean, Sean Payton. I mean, apparently he's a pretty good dad.
Oh, so. There's good dads that aren't Christians.
So That's all I know. He identifies as Christian, and he's apparently a really good dad.
Okay. What about Mike Tomlin? Do you think Mike Tomlin could potentially be gone from Pittsburgh? Are those the
No,
two most tenured head coaches in the league right now? It's Peyton
yeah,
and
that's not the
Tomlin, right?
that's not the Pittsburgh way though.
It's not.
And Tomlin isn't a bad coach at all. Like again, if
No.
either one of
Good
those
coach.
moves on, like dude, I would take them in a heartbeat. Tomlin's just there. He's dealing with the end of Roethlisberger, and they don't know what to do with him. And that's
Oh my
I don't
God.
think that's necessarily on Tomlin.
No. But that whole Ben situation is just awful.
Sean Payton was suspended for the Bounty Gate for Bounty Gate.
Yeah. So that's a no. That's a no then. Okay. Trying to think, like, are there any head coaches that could potentially be fired? That would be great. Could Kyle Shanahan be fired?
I mean, no, they won't do
No.
that.
Would you take Pete Carroll?
No.
Okay. Um, who else? That's really about it.
Well, actually, let me
Dolphins are on a win
rephrase that.
streak.
Would I take Pete Carroll over this current staff? Yes.
100%. Would you build your franchise around Pete Carroll as your head coach?
I mean, not if there was other options. But if it was Pete Carroll or this coaching staff, yes. Like
Pete Carroll or Eric Bieniemy?
Probably just go ahead and give Bieniemy a chance.
Okay. Pete Carroll or Bill O'Brien?
Carroll.
Okay. Pete Carroll or Gary Kubiak?
Dude, I don't know how I can answer that with a straight face because I love Kubiak's offensive system, but like the stress of him continuing to be a coach, like I hate nepotism. I really do. That bothers me so much. But little Kubiak up in Minnesota, like
Clint.
after after it was brought up on our pod that he would be a good head coaching candidate. I actually looked at his resume and it's like, you know what? God damn it. He's got a great resume. And
he does.
You look at his play calling and it's like, okay, that sucks. But I hate nepotism, but he's going to be a really good coach.
He has the potential to be.
He's about as safe bet as there is.
None of them are safe bets.
Exactly. Exactly. No coach is, but if you look at everything, like as safe bet as it could possibly be, it's going to be Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, I think Clint would be an interesting hire for sure. All right. Well, we've gone long enough. All right. Well, you guys know where to find us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Tell your friends about the podcast that just stomps and moves forward on. I don't even know where I was going to go with that, but
we at least try to have a good time every week.
Yeah,
nothing else.
Yeah.
Like,
at least
we're
we
gonna get
show
on
up
here, and we're gonna talk about something.
Yeah, we show up every Tuesday. We're gonna mix in some Marvel probably for the rest of the season. I challenge all of you to watch all of the Spider-Man before December 16th. Watch the 3 Tobys, the 2 Garfields, and the 2 Hollands, and get ready for Spider-Man on December 16th. That'll be a really good movie. It's already outsold Infinity War and Rise of the Skywalker from pre-sale tickets.
Oh wow!
It's going to break every record that has ever existed, and that's in a pandemic, which is wild.
When they first announced the tickets, like Cinemark, like I have that movie pass.
I do too.
It crashed their website. Like you couldn't.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, you could not even load their website.
Oh, did you do it the night of at midnight?
Oh, as soon as they released them?
Yeah,
I did.
Oh, I waited until the next day. I totally forgot. Yeah. I woke up and did it at like 9 a.m.
You know, it aggravated me, and then I was talking to my wife about it, and she was like, "Well, just choose like Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Just like whatever. Just pick a day."
Wait, Robin's going with y'all?
Yeah, she's gonna go.
Is it just you and Robin, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're gonna get a babysitter, and we're gonna go.
Hey.
But yeah, but I was able to get one on Thursday. Like there were still seats available. I mean, all the super good theaters, like the XD and the IMAX and all that, those things are sold out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But like going to a regular theater, there were still tickets available. yesterday.
I love the Cinemark Movie Pass. It's my favorite thing. I've had it for almost 2 years. It's the best thing. I'm 8 tickets away from platinum status where I get whatever it is, 25% off concession and 2 tickets a month or whatever it is. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, I love it. Toby,
I
it's
just
sold out because of
got
him.
it.
Yeah. Oh, you just
Like,
got it?
just got it. Like, well, the
It's
past
great, bro. It rolls over
month and a
too. You
half,
know that.
like, yeah, yeah. Like the past month and a half, like me and Robin just like would go to a movie by ourselves, essentially.
Well, you guys
Like,
are also
shoot,
rich now.
compared to where we were, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are rich.
But,
That's right. I totally forgot. I totally forgot lifestyle change. I forgot about
but
that.
like she would go to a movie, and then a couple nights later, I would go to a movie just to kind of get out of the house.
Yeah.
And so we ended up because there was a bunch of movies we'd want to see, and you know how I am. I'm just like you. Like I want to go to all the new releases.
Yeah.
I got to see all the Marvel movies. So she ended up actually getting it first, and she told me about it, and I was like, shit, I got to get that. And then to go see Spider-Man, it's going to cost us $8.
Yep. It's great.
Well, granted, we're already paying for the movie pass, but
It's still great.
just like
Those fees alone. You go see
yeah,
two. If you go see 2 movies in a month, it pays for itself.
mhm,
Um,
it's awesome.
hey, Toby, thank you for showing up, being in the stream tonight. It's much appreciated. I know there's a lot of stuff going around about you, and um, you know, I heard you only have 13 minutes of screen time. I'm sorry that they cut down. I know you're used to being the main guy, but you're too old. Okay, you're too old. It's time to let Tom. Hey, then they also renewed him for another trilogy, so they're going to do another
They
3
did.
Spider-Man for Tom. That'll be good.
Well, they got to
Jair.
figure out how to get a live action Miles Morales in.
Oh, she already said it that there's a good chance that Miles makes it into the MCU. She said it yesterday. Amy
Oh,
Pascal, the creative director for Sony,
okay. Yeah.
and she said Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is almost done and it looks amazing.
Well, I mean, it better because the first one was
Amazing.
honestly probably my favorite Spider-Man movie, to tell you the truth.
I love animation, but I don't love animation that much. I think Far From Home was a really 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 good movie.
It was, and I like Far From Home, but from the soundtrack to
Soundtrack
just
was
like
good, but you also
the
probably watched
style
that
of
with
anime.
Jack.
Do what?
You watched it with Jack, right?
I have watched it with Jack.
Okay, that's why it's your favorite. That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
But no, even when because I took you and Parker to see it for Parker's Christmas present when it first came out.
Wait, we all went?
Yeah, we all went. I took y'all to. I actually remember buying the tickets for opening night, and the three of us went. And I remember leaving the theater and telling you then that it was my favorite Spider-Man movie. Far From Home
Huh,
still hadn't came out then, but just they nailed it from like the
they did.
tone. Like that is
Animation
Miles
was wild.
Morales. The
Yep,
animation is perfect. The
yep,
soundtrack is perfect.
yep.
Like it's gonna be hard to top.
It is. It is. 3 Spider-Man, yes, Jair. There will be 3 Spider-Man in the movie. Um, this one might top Miles Morales, might top Spider-Verse.
I hope so. I mean,
I think it's this movie is going to be one of those movies where we talk about it for an extremely long time.
I think so. Like this movie is gonna be wild. Like it's kind of breaking my brain to see how far like live action movies are going now.
Yeah,
And this like the type of story that this movie is gonna tell, like the type of special effects that go into this,
yeah,
the fact that they can do it and it's gonna look realistic,
crazy.
like it's just absolute craziness.
How about the
Like,
fact that they like eliminate like the other 2 Spider-Men out of like certain scenes and stuff? Like that's wild to me. That
oh,
like
to do that
how
for the trailer?
creative. Yeah, so that way in the
Yeah.
trailer it doesn't give it away. It's so crazy. And they've done that before. They've
Mhm.
done that with they did that with Infinity War, they did that with Endgame. They've done it before, but it's still wild to me.
Yeah. Well, there was a for like the Infinity War trailer, there was in the trailer there's Hulk in Wakanda, but he never shows up in Wakanda.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, it's just little things like that. Like,
They're
dude,
so good.
they're nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
They're
And
so good. But
who's to think that like a lot of these Marvel characters, like, who would have thought like that they'd become this big of a deal?
yeah,
Granted, before we go, what did you think of Eternals?
I thought it was good. I I
It was
I
good.
I I I went in. Have you seen it yet?
I have seen it.
So I thought for me, like the Eternal, I went in with zero expectations.
Mhm.
I didn't go into it. Yes, it was a part of the MCU, but I didn't go into it thinking. Um, I didn't compare it to any other MCU film. I didn't compare it to any of the phases. I didn't compare the characters to any of the other characters. I just went into it with no knowledge of who they were, um, and I enjoyed it. I thought that there was a lot of storytelling. They introduced 10 new characters. I think that's tough in anything. Um, and it's better than Thor: Dark World.
Yeah.
Um, it's better than Iron Man 2. Um, but it's one of those movies where I think we're gonna look back on it and be like, okay, I now see why like the movie was this way. I do see why the story and things of that nature. Like
It's like it's gonna be
I,
like
I,
Age of
I,
Ultron.
a hundred
Like,
percent, 100%. Like you're just gonna, there's gonna be so many things that stem from the movie that it's gonna like, okay, that makes a ton of sense.
Tobey
Um,
Maguire actually nailed it, and it's what I tweeted out after I saw it. It's like either the movie was too long or too short, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like, I
I
think it
think it was
would've been
too
a
long.
perfect if it was a miniseries.
Oh yeah,
Like,
like
I
Disney
think it
Plus.
should have actually been a miniseries because I know nothing about the Eternals. Like, I'm a big comic book geek. Like, I have
Yeah,
comic books on everywhere,
yeah,
and I know nothing about the Eternals. And it takes you so long to get invested in the characters, and then the movie's over.
yeah,
Where I think that if they had done like, this one could have almost been like a Game of Thrones, not like Game of Thrones, but it could have been like it could have had, like, this long, like, single season miniseries that could have just been, I think, awesome. Like, the twists and everything that go in it, the relationships, and getting to know these characters, where there's a couple of people in the Eternals where I think they're on the screen for, like, 8 minutes. Like,
yep.
they just you don't get to know them, and you don't get to care about them. And then there's things that could have been pretty cool that they could have built on, but it was so rushed that they didn't. Or it could have been shorter where they just cut all that stuff out and just really focus on the people they wanted to focus on. But
I think with the Eternals though, I'm sure that there had to be a conversation about it being a miniseries, but there's so much attention needed to be brought to them for the new phase that it wouldn't have gotten the audience that it got in the movies. So they had to put it on the big screen because there's so many different aspects to the Eternals that are going to
yeah,
play parts in all the rest of the movies that it's like they had to make sure that that was a feature film to ensure it was a part of the phase because if you leave it out and you have it as a, Loki or what if or whatever it may be, you're probably taking out the, I don't want to say the guts, but you're taking out like the stigma of being a part of the phase, which is kind
right.
of needed, right? Like the end credit scenes, like you saw both of them, right? Both end credit
Mhm.
scenes. Like
Yep.
who's talking to Kit
Yeah.
Harington, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's Blade, right? So like there's just things in there that needed to happen. And Blade's going to be a big part of the MCU, so like you had to introduce him in a sense without actually introducing him. So I do think that it could have been better. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do another Eternals and it is better because there's not as much needed now. It's almost like they got it out of the way. Um,
No, I think
the fight scenes were
I
good.
think you nailed it. Like, a lot of the, like, it's gonna be one of those foundational movies.
Yeah,
Like, there's bits of story from that movie that'll need to be seen everywhere else, and just with the
exactly.
miniseries, no matter how well they do, like, they just don't have the reach of even a poorly done movie, and
Yep.
it wasn't poorly done. Like,
No,
it's still better than 90% of what's coming out of Warner Brothers. Like, it's
for
not
sure. It was better
horrible.
than
It's just
Aquaman.
yeah, easily. I mean,
Aquaman was
so
awful.
yeah, I mean, so it's definitely worth seeing, but yeah, I just wanted to kinda throw that out there because we never talked about it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Shang-Chi probably up there.
Shang-Chi was amazing. That may be part of the reason why the Eternals is getting the reaction it
Exactly.
is,
That's where I was
because
going.
Shang-Chi was so good. I knew nothing about Shang-Chi going into it,
That's
and
exactly
that
where I
was
was going.
so amazing.
Shang-Chi was so good that you followed it up with the Eternals that it's like you had to be disappointed because you just watched this amazing movie not but 6 weeks earlier and your socks are blown off from a visual perspective, from a script perspective, from an acting perspective. Like they really nailed everything in Shang-Chi. There was nothing bad about Shang-Chi. The only problem I had with Shang-Chi was I didn't like the dragon aspect as much as most people. I thought that was a little too much a little over the top. But I understand it, and I understand from the story perspective, so that's fine. But Shang-Chi was a great movie, and then it's like, boom, here's the Eternals. Here's 10 new characters all at one time for you to learn, become attached to, and become emotionally invested in, to where it's like, no, like I can't. There's just
Yeah.
too much going on. But that's why it was released there, right? It was like Shang-Chi, and then Eternals, and then now you got Spider-Man, then you got Doctor Strange and Madness of the Multiverse, then you got Black Panther, or then you got Black Panther, then you got like it's like okay, where were you gonna fit them in at? You kind of had to get that out of the way.
Yeah. No, and it's fair. And I mean, we could get more into like the reason why that, like, for the type of story that the Eternals had to tell, like, it was hard to make a movie that would be much better, which is why I go back to it should have been a miniseries because it didn't have a clear villain. Like,
Yep.
it didn't have, I guess, a clear, what is it, the antagonist, protagonist. Like,
Yep.
you know me, I get all this stuff confused. Um, and you had to focus on 10 people versus Shang-Chi, where Shang-Chi had a clear villain. Like,
Yep.
you knew what was going on. You only had, I mean, it's Shang-Chi, like, so it sounds like one character, but you really needed to get to know 3 characters in it
Yep.
versus 10. So there's a lot of things that were a lot easier, but they just crushed it with that movie.
I think
Where
some
the
of the
Eternals,
acting in the Eternals was bad too. Like
yeah,
I thought I didn't like Selma Hayek in that movie. I
yeah,
thought
she was,
she was Um, I didn't really like the little young girl. I thought that was kind of like Um, love the black dude. I thought the Asian lady did an amazing job. I hate to be disrespectful and not know her name, but I do not know her name.
Gemma
Um,
Chan.
Angelina Jolie was really good. The guy who plays basically is the guy from The Boys, with shooting his eyes,
Mhm.
lasers through his eyes. He was good. The quick one was good. The bigger Asian dude was actually a really good. I liked his story. I liked who he was, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it's going to be. It may be forgotten, but I guarantee you it'll play the biggest part in phase 4 out of all the movies.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, those things that you kind of hit on, like, I think that, like, using the character names like Cersei and Icarus, like building up the romance.
Yep.
Like they spent apparently 5,000 out of 7,000 years together, so you should have really been able to build that up. Like you talk about Sprite, how you didn't really like her. Well, if it was a miniseries, you could really kind you'd really get to see what it's like to always be a kid, to be a kid
Yeah.
for 7,000 years, where
Yep.
everybody else
Yep.
had adult lives. And shoot, what is his name? Um, the bigger you said the bigger Asian guy.
That guy was great.
He was amazing, and I would have watched, like, he should have had more time.
He should
And
have had
then
his
just
own
try
miniseries.
yeah, and then just getting to know him and getting him and Angela Jolie's character just or Athena, getting to know their relationship a little bit better because it was you knew that they cared about each other, but it was still unclear were they brother sister or were they actually like in love. Like
Yeah.
that was a little unclear. Like were again, this is what all my thoughts on why it should have been a miniseries. And then Kamali, like, dude, he could have had his own show. Like he was amazing. Yeah,
The
Gilgamesh.
Indian dude,
Yeah, the Indian did.
he was
Like
great.
I would have watched an entire series on him.
Yeah.
Like he comes from like the last thing that he was in was it the HP was it Silicon Valley? Was like that the only
Yep.
thing that he's been in?
That's
But
the
I
only
mean
thing
he
I've
was
ever seen him
fantastic.
in. He was
Yeah,
great.
and that he was fantastic in that.
It's a great
And he was
show.
essentially getting to be like a superhero version
Yeah.
of that guy, but actually, a good person.
I feel like
So
I don't know if the movie needed to be a miniseries or a series on Disney Plus. I think what they should have done was an episode for each character, just to
for the
give the
movie,
character a background, and
that would have
then the
been
movie,
cool.
and then the movie. because
That would be
then
cool.
you're able to probably take out a lot of the parts that made the movie long and somewhat dragged out. Instead, you would have had a background of each individual character, kind of like what they do with Marvel Legends, right? They
Mhm.
kind of do like a rehash on Disney Plus of each thing. I think something like that, maybe a 15 to 20 minute, show on their character and who they are and things of that nature. And then you could have went into the Eternals. You could have eliminated probably 42 minutes of the movie, and you would have been caught up, and it would have been a much better film. But from a visual
Yeah.
perspective, I thought the movie was really good.
Oh, yeah.
You can come to expect that with everything Marvel, but I mean,
I mean,
they just do
honestly,
it.
I think it was kinda like on another level visually. Like, it was a beautifully shot movie.
But
Like, just
Shang-Chi, I thought
at
was even better, beautifully
yeah.
shot.
Well, it was almost 2 different vibes. Like,
Yeah,
The Eternals was almost like art house, like, the way that it looked. Like,
yeah,
it with, like, the golden hour, like, constantly. Where Shang-Chi was like to me, it was like no matter what screen you see it on, the way it was shot, it felt like you were always in an IMAX movie. Like, again,
yeah,
just a
yeah.
fantastic movie.
It's a fantastic movie. By the way, side note, we were in Vegas, and I encourage anybody who is in Denver, Santa Fe, New Mexico, or Las Vegas, do yourself a favor right now. Write down Meow Wolf, Meow MEOW, and then Wolf, and Google it. What are you laughing at, John?
I know what you're talking about. Like, I actually had this conversation with somebody earlier today.
Really?
Yeah, about Meowwolf. Yep.
Yo, it is the dopest art exhibit I have ever seen in my entire life. It was the one of the best experiences I've ever had with my children. It was cool isn't even like a good enough word. It is an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. It's something you could do literally all day. Like we pretty much spent like 8 hours there while we were in
Oh,
Vegas.
wow.
Um, it's so it's so dope. I mean, it's really like one of the best experiences I've ever been. If anybody's ever been, drop it in the comments. But if you guys are in Vegas, Santa Fe, or Denver, I want to go to Santa Fe and Denver and take the kids again. Kids were so engaged. It was so awesome to see them into the art that they had. It was like lights and like different um like presentations, I guess, of like art. It was just I don't know. It was the most unique experience I've literally ever had, and it was awesome. They had a great restaurant
Uh,
inside. They had a little sideshow. It was crazy. It was crazy. So if you and Robin ever go to Las Vegas, you guys should definitely go. There's a bar in there. It's super dope. Um, yeah, Meow Wolf, hands down, one of the coolest experiences of my life.
yeah, I'm already following them on Instagram.
Yeah, Jair, please, 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 if you're going to Denver in a couple of weeks, go to Meow Wolf. I promise you. If you do not like it, I'll pay the ticket price back to you. I will Venmo you it. It will be the dopest experience you've had. It's like spiritual too. It's really weird. It's really weird.
You wanna know what's crazy about you bringing this up? Is like after the show, I was actually gonna ask you about because we had talked about doing it in the past and then, life got in the way, but now I'm actually in a position where we could do a guys' weekend to Vegas.
Dude, I'm down.
Like, that would be
I'm
cool.
down. Even if we don't do Vegas, even if I like honestly a
I wanna
guy's
go to I
trip.
wanna go to Vegas for a guys' weekend. Like, I've only been to Vegas once, and it was there for work, so it was like, I just got to saw a little bit of it. Like, I don't know, I just wanna go.
Now that you're rich, we can go. So,
Not rich, but definitely better than we were.
Rich, he's rich, guys. Don't let him fool you
Dude,
with his nice little
your
smile.
single income is still better than our combined, but
No, it is
we're doing a lot
not.
better.
No,
From
it
what you've
is
told me
not.
it is, yeah.
Okay, well, that's commission though. That doesn't count. That's not steady income.
I mean, maybe for 1 year, but still.
1 year, yeah, 1 year. Um, maybe longer now. We'll see. But yeah, dude, I'm down. I'm down to do a guys trip. I think it'd be dope
Yeah.
to do a guys trip. I would like. Do you golf, John? Are you gonna ever golf? Do you golf?
I used to be a pretty good golfer, but then I destroyed my knee. So I went from shooting, high 80s, low 90s, um, and then pre-knee surgery, and then post-knee surgery, like, I'm back in, like, the 120s, 130s. So that's just frustrating. So I get frustrated when I play golf.
I'm about a 90. I'm about a 90, but I love it. I play it like
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a week.
There was a time in my life where I would go either play every day or go to the driving range every day.
Yeah. Have you seen the Park Blue Jack National? Oh my God,
I have not.
it was the first time in my life I've ever felt poor. Like, and I've definitely had like struggling times in my life, but like I truly felt poor here. So it's a Tiger Woods designed golf course right outside of Houston. Um,
Okay.
I went to a Texans game and this guy had on this really dope tailor-made hat. And I asked him, "Hey, yo, where'd you get the hat at?" And he's like, "Oh, I got a Blue Jack National." I said it was like just some like normal thing. I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "What's that?" And he told me. And so then I looked, I Googled it, and I mean, I play with the same four guys about twice a week, and I said, "Yo, this would be really dope to go to." Like we were talking about doing like a guys trip for golf or whatever, and so I call and I was like, "Hey, I'd love to, how much does it cost to play there?" And they're like, "Oh, it's 150, and then you got to pay the cart fees." I was like, "Oh, okay, okay. How much are the cart fees?" $16. I said, "Okay, cool." He's like, "But that 150 is membership fee." I said, "Oh, that's fine, whatever." I was like, "Is that membership fee monthly, annually? Like, how much is that?" And they go, "It's $150,000 a year."
Dang.
And I'm sitting here asking him like, is that monthly? I felt so. I was like, okay.
Oh
And
my
I literally,
gosh.
I said to the guy, I was like, hey, yo, I'll never be able to golf there, like ever in my life. Like, I'm so sorry for wasting your time.
I just didn't know, man.
I
I mean,
didn't know.
I've played at places that have like $1,000. My dad worked for Wilson Sporting Goods, the parent
Oh,
company
that's
of
right.
them.
That's right.
So I've played on some really nice courses back in the day, but yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
Can I share my screen on here?
My dad's played at Sawgrass.
What?
Yeah, he's actually played on Sawgrass.
Damn,
And then
that's
of course
crazy.
like the Kiowa Ocean course, like he played there several times.
Dang. Look at this. Look at this place.
Dang.
Just watch. Let's see if I can find like the actual pictures. Let's see. Dude, look at this. This is intense, dude. They got lights for night golfing. I mean, we have beautiful golf courses in Austin. I mean, there's some real gems here. We have nothing like this.
That's insane.
It's a resort too. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's just absolutely stunning. And if you know a member, you can play. But like, I don't know anybody that just spent $150,000 a year on golf.
I mean, if anybody, of all the people I know that I would think would know a member there, it would have been you. So,
Wait, say that again.
of all the people I know
Uh huh.
that I would think would even know a member
Oh
or
yeah.
have the ability to know a member, it would be you.
Yeah, I've tried. I've tweeted it out multiple times. I've done everything I could. I can't. I want to play there. I would love to play there. My game isn't even good enough to likely even play there, but it just looks. It looks so pretty, so pretty. Dexter's back. Are anybody watching Dexter? No. John, do you watch Dexter?
I mean, I watched it before, but I
You
haven't.
watched all of it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those that it just kind of ended like, blah.
It's good now though.
Is it?
Oh, dude, it's
All right.
really good. Yeah, I don't get into TV shows very often, but this one's pretty good.
Well, I like to
Um,
put stuff up and just binge it because
oh
I
well,
can
then
just,
yeah, there's only 4 more episodes, and you can do that.
yeah.
And what
I
else?
mean, I've
Pop
got to make up for
culture.
all the years that I couldn't watch TV. Like now I work from
Oh
home and I
yeah,
can just like play catch
you
up.
yeah you live the rich life. You can just do whatever you want.
Dude, oh shit, I'm still working. But working from home is like
You
it's
love it.
just dude, it's such a game changer. Like
It is.
not having to deal with people like yelling in your face too. Like
Yeah,
what on earth was I thinking? Like doing hospitality and dental offices. for as long as I did. Like,
It's the greatest decision I've ever made in my life, getting out of the service industry, taking a risk, and changing careers. It was by
yeah.
far the greatest thing I've ever done, and I think it's the greatest thing you've ever done too. I mean, it's just
I
such a
mean,
game. It's a game changer, bro.
yeah, everybody needs to work in the service industry or in hospitality, I think, just so they would understand how to treat people. But the fact that me and you both had it as our careers at one point, like,
Yeah.
what were we thinking?
No, I have no idea. Young and dumb. Young and dumb. All right. Well, I think they've heard us. Just kind of.
You know, I'm actually amazed. Like, our people
All right.
watching has stayed steady. Apparently, they just like to listen to us.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
We'll
I
see
think
what
we talked about everything.
we'll see what sort of feedback we get when I post it as a pod.
Yeah, that'll
'Cause
that'll
I'm
that'll.
not cutting any of this out. It's all staying.
No, you might as well. Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's it. All right. Well, my dog's been outside for an hour and a half, so I definitely need to go let her in. But you guys, thanks for tuning in to Texans Unfiltered / Marvel Unfiltered / Golf Unfiltered / Vegas Trip Unfiltered. That won't be unfiltered. You guys won't hear about that unless you guys are there. But yeah, thank you guys. I feel like the later
Hey, we'll tell
streams.
everybody, and we'll tell everybody on the show when we go.
Yeah,
Definitely meet up. Anybody
it
who
would
wants
definitely
to.
be it would definitely have to be during the NFL season. Um, because being at a sports book and watching NFL games is just a completely different experience.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe March Madness
Yeah, I mean, I'm not into
because
March Madness.
I don't really watch basketball, but that seems like the one to gamble on.
Yeah,
Like I watch the Rockets, and I keep trying to get into the Longhorns because they're supposed to be good this year, but college basketball has always been harder for me to watch. But but my understanding is one of the things that you need to do in life is watch March Madness at a sports book.
that makes sense. I'm just not really into it. By the way, did you guys know that Costco sells Super Bowl tickets for like a really good price?
What?
Yeah, I'm not even joking.
Really?
Yeah, my neighbor works at what the hell's going on here? Adolf Hitler Nazi Party kill one. Whoa, buddy, get the hell out of here.
That was kind of creepy.
That was awful. It's multiple users too. Jeez. Can everybody still see that? Jeez, that was awful. Oh no, I accidentally blocked Toby. How do I unblock Toby?
You put him in timeout for 5 minutes.
No, no, Toby. I'm sorry, Toby. That was an accident. Where is he? I can't. Is he blocked
I
forever?
No, it's just for 5 minutes.
He's only
I
blocked
think.
for 5 minutes? No,
I
I
think
blocked
no.
him.
Is it permanent?
It says blocked. I hope not. No, Preston.
Oh no.
Don't say that. Not Toby.
Toby, get back.
Oh man, Preston, I'm so glad to see you in there. I'm glad you're doing well, brother. Yeah, damn, I blocked Toby.
I don't know how to
Jeez,
unblock them.
I
There's gotta
don't
be like a block
either.
list somewhere, right?
Well, and I would think that a lot of it has to do with like where did we block him at? Did we block him on YouTube? Did we like poor Toby? It was an accident. Okay, I wonder if if you're blocked, can you still watch?
Yeah, I'm sure you can still watch it, just can't comment. So, dude,
Good
sorry.
Lord, poor Toby. Deleted, hands down, Jared. I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to get the Nazi out of here. Good Lord. No, we are not copying and posting the Nazi propaganda.
No.
We are not. That was
Not cool.
That was a spam bot that just was lighting up the comments. I was trying to block them, and I could still see it after I blocked them. So I think I accidentally clicked on Toby. Poor Toby. He's back. Dude, he's back again.
What the heck? The hell, man?
Yo,
All right. Well, I think that's time for us just to be done.
yeah, this guy's ruining a good time here. I think it's time to end the stream. You're right. Look at Preston managing from afar. All right. Well, with that being said, you guys don't listen to the Ku Klux Klan guy. Obviously, you guys know he's not part of this. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. We didn't even talk about Thanksgiving, John, but I hope everybody had a good time with your family. Hope you're able to hug your loved ones for if you haven't been able to during the pandemic or COVID. And we appreciate you guys sticking with us through this just awful season, just awful, plain awful season. And let's talk about the draft and all the fun stuff we have coming up, and then we'll talk about a bunch of Marvel stuff. With
Yeah.
that being said, I'm Young Ari Gold signing off for Texans Unfiltered. We'll catch you guys.